everyone. Welcome back to their Rescue Talk. I am Amy Major with my two co-hosts, Cynthia Maroon and Jordan Start. Today, as you can tell, we have a very special guest with us today, Karyn Chabot, who is also one of my very close friends. I've known her for several years. She is actually, and I'm going to say this right, an Ayurvedic astrologer and practitioner. I almost said it wrong there for a minute there. You got me. So we're going to talk a lot about her being an astrologer, but we're also going to talk a lot about the 52 star codes. This is the book that she's been writing. This is her baby. This is like wealth of knowledge. It is so different than what you've ever really seen out there before. And I think because of that, it was so important to invite her on for her to share her knowledge of these star codes and how they can help you and kind of navigate your life just a little bit more. So we're going to welcome her on and let her tell you a little bit about, who she is, what she does, and a little bit about the star codes as well. Hi, Karyn. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you?
We're good. We're good. We're still enjoying the summer as we see your background back there, kind of enjoying the waves, feeling the vibes of the ocean, which is very cleansing as well. We're loving that. So, if you could tell the guests just a little bit about you and how you kind of got started in these 52 star codes.
In a nutshell, I started this about 25 years ago, really deeply, but I was introduced to it mildly and intrigued by it, and it kind of tabled it, I don't know, 1998 or 1999 by another Vedic astrologer in New Mexico. She gave me a reading, a Vedic astrology reading, before I'd really studied any of this. I was in the middle of studying Ayurvedic medicine in New Mexico, and her name was Bethala. She's since passed, but she was one of the best astrologers ever, and a Ayurvedic yoga teacher and a good friend. And she told me I was a 4 of hearts, and I had no idea what that meant. So I went back to her reading, I'd say like 5 years ago, and I noticed that she wrote my cards into the Vedic astrology chart, and like, wow, where did she come up with that I was a 4 of hearts person? So that got me interested, and I tabled it because I didn't know where to learn about it. And she had passed. And so I then stumbled, obviously I was supposed to know more about it, because then another person showed up in my life and told me, I was in Costa Rica when this happened, and this person I was giving an Ayurvedic massage to at a spa, I was working there. And she said, oh, you have a lot of luck with your former husband because you married him during your Jupiter cycle. I'm like, what is that? What does that mean? And she knew I was 4 of hearts. I gave her my birthday. And I do have a lot of luck with him. Most people have, not so much luck with their exes, but actually that's who I just went jet skiing with. And we're still good friends, and it, blessing. So that kept me going. And then there was somebody at the Pota Vida Spa who became my good friend, who I trained as a staff member in Ayurvedic massage. And she got this book called Destiny Cards, and then another book called Love Cards. And we just started digging deep into them and, reading like, whoa, this is really accurate. But, it's still a little honestly turned off because I was so into the Ayurvedic medicine part of life and the healing part of life that cards, they've been demonized. So, I had fallen for the demonization. I thought, gambling, gypsies. And so I kind of dismissed it, but I couldn't help it. I was just saying, these are spot on. Everything in the book is correct. How can this be? So I slowly warmed up to it because of her. She and I did it together. When you have a buddy to do something with, it just makes it more fun. And we were bouncing off ideas with all the guests that we were healing, because she was another healer at the spa. And we would just talk about each guest according to their birthday. And so we just kept going, maybe 5 years on this. And then I took it to the next level and stopped seeing massage clients so much. And my massage clients actually were asking me to do 52 star codes with them. So it happened that at the end of every massage, I would do 5 minutes at the end to give them a little star code reading, and they loved it. And some of them, it was spot on, would come back just for that and not so much massage. And that was the evolution of massage therapist turned into 52 star code counselor. And in the middle, I peppered in Ayurvedic health because that all fits. So this is basically a system of the playing cards, and it's a very ancient oracle. It's actually like a god clock. It is a cosmic calendar, and it was demonized on purpose for centuries because it was so powerful that kings and queens and presidents of countries and whoever the powers that be didn't want their people to go to the astrologers or the 52 star code counselors, or they were the magi that found Jesus. They used this system, the Star of Bethlehem, and there was this division between church and state, and in astrology and magic and the state. So they persecuted anyone caught doing it. So in order to keep the system alive without persecution, they thought, well, we'll just turn the deck into like Go Fish or Bridge or poker, and it's not about that. It is a powerful galactic technology that originated in Orion. And it's interesting, we're doing this on the day after the Lionsgate, because that yesterday, the Lionsgate is when Ceres and Orion merge. And Orion, well, I've been working with these beings that are from that realm. I think they are from somewhere in Orion, and they're star beings, and they have been working with me on these cards, and they explained to me that every planet and every star has this tool. It's a tool set. There's an unbound book of time, and with 52 cards in them, and they are for us to use as a navigation tool on Earth, so we can make more informed decisions, so we can know who we are, so we can understand how we fit in the world relative to other people. We can find codes behind the cards and start creating formulas and basically remembering formulas, because half of what I've discovered is just this much. I mean, there's so much more that was discovered back then that I'm pulling from the Akashic records back in, and I'm asking my students to help me keep developing new formulas so we can get bigger insights. And basically, this system has changed my life and how I see the world. And every galaxy, every star or planet or luminary place in the sky uses this system if it's under the fourth dimension. Anything over fourth dimension, fifth, sixth, and seventh don't need this tool set, because they're already so psychic and so aware and self-aware that this isn't necessary. But for the lower density planets like Earth, we come in here blindsided, and we're expected to just walk through and keep getting sideswiped and just fall flat on our faces. Many of us, some of us, our charts are a little easier. We don't get so blindsided. Those of us who were born in the Neptune row, which I can talk later about, which is me, there's a lot of potholes in that row. I've fallen flat on my face, so I have felt I needed some kind of a tool. Whereas I've talked to other people who really don't need so much guidance. So it's very much dependent on who you are and what your needs are. I'm one of those very sensitive, and I find that a lot of mediums and psychics and people who are highly sensitive people really need this tool set. And when you learn this system, you actually begin to develop your intuition more if you do it in reverse, by feeling into the day, feeling into a situation, getting that, that aha, and then check the cards, because the cards will reflect back at you what you're feeling. The cards are never wrong. So it's always in perception and interpretation of the cards. The cards are galactic technology. Like I said, they aren't wrong. It's just a matter of understanding them and learning this system. And I'm still learning the system. And the trick is, we all jump timelines. And that's where 80% accuracy comes in when you get a psychic reading, because that psychic might be really good, or a mediumship reading, that they may be very talented, but they may be reading you at a certain density or timeline. And then, with you in a month or even an hour, I found some people, they jump timelines every 2 hours in a day. It's rare. I've noticed every 2 months up and down densities. So to track someone where they are is a really incredible skill set. And I've found ways to do that before I start my reading, figure out where and what layer they're at, because we're so multidimensional. We have so many layers within the system. I'm not just a Four of Hearts. I have other layers that would describe me. So reading the right layer will give you more accuracy in finding that, just finding that layer, and then giving options. Well, if you stay in this timeline, this will happen. You just follow along on that timeline, then you can click into another layer and say, well, if you go down a density, not so good, this might happen. But if you can remain up, and there are several things that are trackers for when you go up, I call them stargates, and they're personal transits in your chart when you enter your birthday. That's when we go up a timeline and good things can happen, which is great because we have free will. We can go up, we can go down, we can remain the same. And as a reader, it's my job to find out where are you on this day, and then what could happen in the future with this particular reading. There could be another option if I jump up a density. So really, we're here to evolve, at least I am, and I know you all are. And we want to become our best version of ourselves. And to understand ourselves is the most important thing in the world, because we are the Steven Spielberg of our own play. And these cards are truly playing cards. And it's all a game of life. It's like a big chess game, and you just learn the direction, you learn the rules of the game, and you use these cards to understand the game that you wrote for, and keeping it light, making it fun, but also gets pretty serious. So yeah, I guess that's
it's important to know, like, what would you think would be the most important part of the readings that you think people should know the most, like with these cards? Is it more of like what card they are, the people they're connected to? Can you find out like soul partnerships or anything like that?
Yes, those are really good questions. So it's very much dependent on the person and what they want. Sometimes I get a client that, like just yesterday, she wanted to buy a house in Rhode Island for an investment. And, she was struggling, just got divorced, didn't have any money. And she was a student, and she knows that I can track the frequency of the address of the house, and then I can use that frequency to see if it aligns with her particular wealth formula, or if it is one of her stress cards, or in general. Or I went into her yearly chart to see if this year would it be really hard for her to buy it. And I did see that the first house she looked at was going to be really tragic. If she bought it, it would have been so much work and so much stress. And then the second house she gave me, I tracked all the numbers, calculated the codes, and it was in a better town. And the town was actually her blessed town. We all get one very big blessed card per birthday and 3 other minor ones, but it was her big blessed card, that town. So I said, that town, keep looking. And the house, pretty good. It looks like some challenge, but not as bad as the other one. So she's going to go ahead and buy it. So it depends on what the client is coming to me for. Some just come for general, who am I? What's my sole purpose? And then I'll go right into the meaning of their card, tell them, patterns, gifts, traits, where they might feel weaknesses, where they'll feel their strengths. And then ultimately, and you probably know this as a reader, after 15 minutes of doing, mundane things like health and who am I, what's my karma, my dharma, they all want to know about love and relationship, because life is about relationship. And, you, for example, could be eating the best food ever. The diet that's like, you're making your own food, you're doing clean and green, but then you go back to your husband, who happens to be your stress card. And stress card, I developed the formula for that. There's one stress card per birthday. And the stress card, I originally named it the death card. And I'm not, no, that's too ominous, because you don't always die when the stress card comes. But it can make you sick. So I then started calling it the sick card, because people did actually start getting sick, or prone and vulnerable to viruses or whatever, or food poisoning, when that stress card appeared. But what if you married that, and you're trying to elevate your health, and you're trying to eat the right food, but then you just go back and with the husband that's killing you? So I had to, it's very difficult to tell people that, but ultimately they know that's true. Yeah, you're like, oh God, the relationship is killing me. I'm like, yes, it is. So let's make a plan. What do you want to do? And you can maybe you just go ahead and eat McDonald's and Burger King, because what the hell? You're living in, a house with a man that his energy is just draining you. And so then that takes a whole different vector. The reading goes in the direction of relationship and how she can plan her great escape. And then other cases there's so many different people have so many different questions and needs. And a lot of people are worried about money right now. And I just discovered the wealth formula, which is just really mind blowing how accurate it is. I had one girl just send me a text saying, when you told me my husband's wealth card was, XYZ, he went to buy a lottery ticket and he won. And so I was really thrilled, and I probably should put that testimony up on my website, but it is really true. And then I discovered more things about the wealth card that I didn't expect, that they actually are similar frequencies to our parents and our husbands. Why? Because our parents have to have money to raise us. So we need them to rely on. So they would represent or embody some of our wealth cards. And then I found a lot of my clients married, including myself, to my wealth card. But that wasn't why I was looking for that formula, but it came across just secondary. But now it's extremely important. I'm using that as, is he a contender or is he not? If he's one of her, say, I'll use her, whoever, as a wealth card, and he's like, oh, this guy Charlie, I really like him, and I see him is her wealth card, I'll say, well, he's a very big contender. He isn't just a fly by night. Put some attention on him. He's your wealth card. Anyways, so it depends on the question. That's what, coming back to your question.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be kind of fun to have an idea of what this looks like. Can you give us like a little example of a chart that you can bring up? I know we had talked before, and you were going to bring up Cynthia and Jordan and maybe my cards as well. It's just for visual, and
Yeah,
of course, keeping everything nice and light, possibly, and we could show everybody just a little example what it looks like. So if people like visuals, people like to see like, what does this look like? What is this going to be for me? And we can give like a little mini reading so people can have an idea.
Yeah, I can give a little demonstration of a reading
Yeah,
to Jordan first.
exactly.
Let me
Exactly.
figure out how to share my screen here.
Yeah.
We go to settings, or wait, maybe this is it. Share screen. Ta-da! Okay, and I'll share the window. See if I can find, well, whoever I pick first is who's going to get the reading. I can't see the
There you
names.
go. There you go.
Oh, Cynthia. All right. Woohoo. You got Cynthia here. Jordan, you're next. Let me see if I can shrink this StreamYard. And, well, does that shrink? That shrinks everything. So I'm new to
It
this
looks
stream.
perfect on my side. It looks
Okay,
great.
yeah, this is different than Zoom. So it actually is in the whole window. Now let me make it a little bigger. I want everyone to see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I could just start digging in and reading randomly, but Cynthia,
Well,
I
what do
don't
we
know.
start with her card? Like, who is she? Is according to,
Yeah, you want
what
me
you
to
said
just
she was 9
give
of
you a
hearts.
basic?
What does that mean?
Sure. So basically, you were born into the special family of 7 cards, Cynthia. There are 7 cards, and Amy's one of them. 7 cards that kind of find each other in this world. However they do, they just end up migrating toward each other, or they even family together. And they're on a special purpose. They have a mission, and they like each other. So not surprised you and Amy are friends. So basically, the 9 of the 7 cards of 52 possibilities, these 7 cards, you are the 9 of hearts, or you were born and you play the 9 of hearts. And that 9 of hearts is about selfless service. The giving person that wants to give the shirt off her back and would, the person that would give advice without asking for money, the go-to salt of the earth that your friends know you are, and they will come to you and ask you things that they wouldn't normally ask other people because you're that person. And the challenge being that 9 of hearts person is to not lose yourself, because you do love giving and it's part of who you are and it brings you joy. But then finding the boundary of between how much do I give without losing myself, that's the big challenge. So a person born on a 9 of hearts day is here to actually learn how to let go, because 9 is the last number in all of the number systems. So letting go is a challenge, and you will tend to want to, and we all do to some degree, hang on to things because your lessons are to let go. So the universe will keep sending you things to test your attachment abilities. And every time a test is presented to you, your first question at the 9 of Hearts should be, I really love and value this person, place, or thing or opportunity, but I also want to make sure I don't love it so much that I attach to it, that I know that it's coming to me for a gift and for a reason, and I will be able to let it go and not lose myself and still be better off for whatever the situation was. This is the challenge. It's actually one of the universal divorce cards. Sometimes it's a death card because it's a 9, it ends. So it's a heart, so it's emotional. And it has grief associated, like with a divorce. If I'm tracking a divorce in someone's cards, any random person, I'll look in the Venus cycle and I'll look for the 9 of Hearts or the 5 of Hearts. Those are the two main divorce cards. There are some other ones too, but these are goodbye cards. And it usually in Venus or Mars, actually, because these are the two romance planets, that would be, well, if you don't get divorced, you'll at least be discussing divorce this year, because I can't always predict that divorce will really happen on paper, because this system reads at the feeling and thought level, because thoughts become things, feelings manifest into things as well. So I can say for sure this will be on the table. You and your husband will talk about it, and you may even actually do it, because there'll be other cards that would give confluence to whether you actually take action. Like if I look for a lawyer, which is the Jack of Spades, if I see lawyers in both you and your husband's charts, then I'll know, well, you probably did start interviewing. Do I know if you paid the lawyer and actually got the ball rolling? No, but I know that all the things you have to do to prepare for a divorce, talk about it, and be ready, you would be on the table for that year. So the 9 of Hearts it's a beautiful card. It's a card of, in Sanskrit, they use the word seva, meaning you're that girl that will do the dishes at Thanksgiving and nobody would even ask. You just offer. You're the girl that just wants to help and not ask for anything in return, because it gives you great joy. So to know that you're this loving being, almost unconditionally so, but then to know around what age do you finally get the boundaries set where you give, but not so much that you lose who you are. So that's one of the greater lessons as well. Now, it's also the card of counseling. So you are an amazing counselor. This is the ultimate loving, compassionate listener card. So you would be someone I would want to sign up with if I was looking for a counselor. Any
That
questions?
sounds exactly like her. It does. That sounds just like her.
That is so Cynthia. My
Cynthia,
goodness.
do you have any questions about that?
I don't have questions, but I do have like some validation for you in that it's very, very true in terms of I am the one who does the dishes at the gatherings. I so am, and I don't like to dry and put them away, but I'll wash all day long. I think I just like to play in water. But very much. And then what you were saying about doing anything in excess is becomes unbalanced. So I understand the need for having to have boundaries around giving or service. And that journey actually started years ago, changing my perspective around money, and this idea that if you are so this was a lesson. Okay, so for many, many, many years I had this belief that if I was to help somebody or do something for someone and they wanted to give me something back monetarily or something like that, that it would somehow imply that the act of service was disingenuous because I'm taking money.
Interesting.
So I had to learn. I actually went to this spiritual online summit about wealth and the vibration of money. And it completely changed my relationship with that belief system. And yes, and I was able to tease apart, because I find a lot of people who work in the industry and do things that are spiritual, or they use their gifts of healing in any way, that they sometimes don't want to charge for it because they're worried people are going to think, well, they're just doing it for the money, or it's not sincere. But that's false. That's just a belief system. And if you want to do your gifts and use them full time, you have the right to make a living in order to do it full time. So you're not doing your spiritual work, part time while you're working full time and everything else, right? So
Yes.
that's very, very true, that journey started, a long time ago, and it's always evolving. So that was lovely. And I was, a counselor for over 20 years. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, hello. That's amazing.
Yeah, hello.
Now I know that was the 9 of Hearts. Can you tell us a little bit about the 5 of Diamonds that is underneath? Does that have anything to do with her personality either?
That's a fabulous card, and I'll tell you all about that. But I want to go back to the 9 for a minute, because you mentioned the money and poverty consciousness or prosperity consciousness, and how what is money? Is it energy, or is it some sort of a guilt trip? And I know that was what you were grappling with, and it would be you that would grapple with something. We all do to some degree, but you would really want to investigate this. Why? Because you are one of the 2 twin cards. Amy's a twin and you're a twin. In the special family of 7 cards, there are 2 of them that have a twin. And what that means is, so for example, Amy's twin is the 2 of Hearts, but her natal card is, I call it the external card, also interchangeably, is the Ace of Clubs. So the Ace of Clubs and the 2 of Hearts are almost inseparable. Amy will have a lot of 2 of Hearts qualities because she is also the 2 of Hearts on some level. And the twin to the 9 of Hearts is the 7 of Diamonds, and that's classically known as the millionaire card. And it is, a diamond, which is about money and values. And that millionaire card, however, is contingent upon spirituality and walking your talk and living in your truth. It will only manifest money if you are in alignment with where you promised you'd go with your blueprint. If you go off track, then that 7 of Diamonds millionaire card actually turns into extreme poverty, not even mediocre. So it's important that you optimize your millionaire card by following your heart, doing what you love, staying in your dharma, and understanding that money is energy. And you, with a 9 of Hearts, can flip anytime over to the 7 of Diamonds and have a lot of money, more than most of us. Does that make sense?
I want it to make sense. I love that.
Good. Okay, good. So let's go into the 5 of Diamonds. So 5 of Diamonds is your internal card. And, some people call it the planetary ruling card. And you can even, if you're an astrologer or at least, studied astrology, there's a rising sign. Right. And that's what this kind of is. But I also see it as your more private self, who you are. And the external card, or what I call the natal card as well, is the outside card, what you share with the world. And those people that know you well will get to know your 5 of Diamonds if you let them. And the 5 of Diamonds is a card of money because it's a diamond. So that's good. You got diamonds in your layers. And it also is money that's centered around wind. And I'll be more specific than wind. Movement, travel. So the 5 of Diamonds is one of these cards that can make money overseas. Say you could be a travel agent. You could, be a pilot. You could move for your living. To have a job that gets you on the road. And as well, it also indicates changes with money constantly. Big money, little money, big money swings a lot, depending on your state of consciousness. So it's a fabulous card, and many 5 of Diamonds are very wealthy. So it's a wealth card for sure. Anything else I can share with you? Yeah, and your questions about that?
I don't have questions about it, but when I heard you were coming, I deliberately didn't want to look into anything. I wanted to learn from this conversation. So I'm really just, I wanted to have that newbie mindset so I could ask questions as I'm listening to you, talk about each of us or yourself in general. I know we want to get to your book and talk about that. But I see that there's a lot of cards. So if somebody books a session with you, is this kind of what they could expect, like a spread like this and an understanding of each card that we're seeing?
Yes, that's a great question. Well, it depends too. If they want an Ayurvedic health reading, I'll open up their Vedic astrology chart and look for, what their dosha is, their Ayurvedic constitution, and, give them information about Vedic astrology, because that ties right in. Usually whatever I see in the Vedic astrology chart, especially predictions, if I see the same thing in the cards, we know we're 99% accurate. So I love having that as a sort of a backup. I open the cards like this, and there are all these cards, and people get a little bit overwhelmed and don't understand. This is cryptic to most people. So
Yeah.
I can break it down quickly. I'm looking at your yearly spread, as you can see, birth card yearly spread. And you see there's these cycles. There's glyphs for Venus. Sorry, this is a glyph for Mercury. Here's Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And this covers your whole year, and each cycle is 52 days, and 52 days times 7 is 365. So I can look and see, okay, let's narrow down to this 52-day cycle. What's going on for you? And you are currently in a Neptune cycle. You see it's highlighted pink here, and this 6 of spades is your card. Your natal card for this cycle would tell me a lot of information about you. There's a lot of things that you might want to change, but you might not be able to make those changes until after your birthday. So the 6 of spades is kind of, in a way, the card of fate and destiny. And I think of it as like a stick in the mud. So you kind of have to just stay with whatever it is until your birthday. It might be something that you can't control and you wish you could, but you just have to have patience and stay with it, because it's not time to make that change when I see that 6 of spades. And it can also be the embodiment of someone you're living with. I don't have your children or your husband or your best friend. And that helps. When you open one chart, you should open up some of their significant others so that you can identify who they are in your chart, so that I don't read your chart wrong. Instead of just giving you a general meaning of the 6 of spades, what if your husband's the 6 of spades? So I don't have all your people up, but I'm just giving you a general reading for that. And then underneath it is the King of Clubs, your internal self. And that tells me that he is the professor. He is the great provider, father, and brilliant man, also highly intuitive, one of the most intuitive cards in the deck. So what that does is it opens a portal for you to receive more messages, heighten your intuition, and really trust your gut here. Because in Neptune, we know Neptune is already psychic. It's a psychic planet. So it's a double hitter for your psychic abilities right now until your birthday. And then we can look at these over here for more information too. This is your Pluto card. This tells me what will transform you for the year. This is the biggest challenge. It's never fun. It's like a little mini death in the year. You got to give up something. It's like, caterpillar to butterfly. What are you going to evolve into through adversity usually? And then the result card, which is right next to it here, I'll click it. You can, I can't click on here. This is the screen. So this is the result card telling me 5 of spades, which is actually Amy Major's evolved self, as well as it is, change. It is big change, because if you do want to change, you will get it probably just before your birthday, days before your birthday. Your change, whatever it is, will be a blessing. The idea of change will be a blessing for you. And then we can do the same thing down here. This card, 2 of Hearts and Pluto, for your internal self. The 2 of Hearts is that card that is the soulmate card, that you feel united at the heart with somebody. It's very a sweet card, because you don't feel alone ever when this card shows up in a favorable cycle. However, when it goes to Pluto, it can indicate that you may have lost a best friend, or you may feel disconnected at the heart somewhere. Someone let you down. Yeah, and it could even be Amy on some level, because Amy, her twin card is the Two of Hearts. So I'd have to ask you questions about that. I just don't have that information yet, but that's just all possibilities. And then the result card, how does she handle this adversity? How does she handle her Pluto card? What is this transformation going to bring her? The result card here is the Two of Spades, which is the card of friendship. And it's also the card of, on the darker side, codependence or need or unfair exchange of energy in some way, if it's on the darker side, because these cards have light and dark sides. So the upside, I like the upside. That friendship card is just that person that doesn't even need to be told how to be a friend. If you were born a Two of Spades, you are the best friend in the world. So with this, it could be that there's somebody that you were with that was romantic, because there's the hearts that are being Plutoed right now, the Two of Hearts soulmate card. And then it gets spaded, which I use that as a verb because the spades are the last suit in the deck, and they signify completions, and you can see the shape is the upside down heart, and they're blackened. So they're blackened hearts upside down. So there could have been a shift in a relationship with someone that went from romantic to platonic, or it could have been just a matter of feeling disconnected from someone, but then you made up and everything worked out and you can be friends. So I'd have to ask you more questions, and I could probably, if I got your people all up and know what their cards are, I'd be able to tell you, where they fall in your chart and answer that question, but we don't have time to do all that. So
of course. What I really like about this, Karyn, is that this is the first time, like I said, that I'm seeing any of this, but I already can see, like, if somebody was scheduling a session to go through this with you, how therapeutic it could be. And you know what? There's almost like this element of safety, I think, because people can be very, and as expected, guarded around sensitive issues for themselves. But when they kind of go to a reading or go to something like this, they can kind of give themselves permission. Well, let's just see, and sometimes venture into areas they normally wouldn't, and then gain a benefit from that. So if they stay open-minded and they participate in something like this, I can really see how healing and how hopeful, and just give people a perspective of sometimes resolution or motivation. Yeah.
And even validity. Some people just feel like they need to be validated. They're having these crazy feelings or thoughts and premonitions, and they come to me and I can see what they're feeling and thinking, and they can too. So it's almost like visual cathartic art therapy. When right. You can see it, it's not elusive. I didn't just make that up. It's right there. And right. Yes, you were supposed to feel that, and that's okay. And then, things change. Everything is dynamic. So we just keep moving. And if I find a really horrible outcome, like there was one lady that, oh my gosh, it was one of the harder readings for me, how to give bad news in a soft way. It looked like she was going to go to jail. And oh God, it was around some kind of litigation with her own daughter. And I hung up, and I was devastated for the rest of the day because I thought, oh my God, how can this happen to this poor girl? And I even got the name of the prison, the jail. I tracked all the frequencies, and I just didn't see any way out of it, except there was one thing that I'd hoped. And it was like a week after. So we had this reading, and then 1 week later, she had read 7 Stargate in her personal transits. And it was like, it would be like if you had 7 of diamonds, 7 of hearts right here. And that would form a red Stargate, which are very special formations. And they blip outside of time, and magic can happen, especially if they're in favorable planetary cycles. So I saw that coming, and I was just desperate to see something good for her because I didn't want to leave the reading on that note. So I thought, okay, we got to get her up a timeline. We got to get her out of this prison sentence. And I went to the next week. There it was, the red 7 Stargate. I said, okay, we're going to optimize this day. On this day, I want you to do everything you can to stay elevated sing, dance, whatever you do. And I said, because you're going to go up a timeline, potentially. This is my goal with you. I don't want this timeline that I just read, prison sentence. I don't want that one for you, but it's not my choice, of course. But I can't help it. I'm the bleeding heart, so I'm trying to help her. And she said, "Oh, isn't that funny? On that day, I just bought tickets for Sanatam Kaur, who sings devotional praises. She's in every yoga class. All her songs are very popular and they're very inspirational." I said, "Oh, that's the best news ever. Go to that concert and sing your heart out, and just let the music just take you away. Like feel the vibrations of that music, like leave your body in a way. Just let it be epic. Let it be ecstatic." And she said, "I'm going to do that." That's right. I said, "Then let me know. Give me a reading. I'll give you a reading later and let me see what happens with your timeline." She never went to jail. And this is like 6 months ago. That red Stargate took her up a density. So she got out of it. And I can't tell you how for her, but these stargates are my latest discovery, and I want to bring these to the world and help people understand them more the way I understand them. And I'm still trying to understand them myself because they were just given to me, and I don't know anyone else that knows about them. So my goal is to get students to study them with me, track them, and take notes on their Stargate days and then put it all together. And I have a lot of testimonies and a lot of people that are helping me. And I have like pages of stories, Stargate stories that I'm piecing together for the book.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you. I very much appreciate your time.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Yeah, I don't see any Stargates right off the bat looking at yours, but that doesn't mean that I need to look a little closer here. No, yours anyways would have already passed, so that wouldn't even be fun. So hold on a minute.
So are we ready for Jordan?
Oh, you do. You have a little Stargate here. I will say to you. Yeah, there's so there's something called the law of fives, and when you go five away from another planetary cycle, then they talk like these Uranus is 5 away from Mercury, and they both govern property, and you have a red ace, 2 red aces. So there was a new beginning, possibly in something that Uranus or Mercury would govern, and they govern, like I said, property, land, real estate, transactions, also the occult, mystical, the magical, and community events, as well as short trips and communication. So there was something this year. Oh no, it must be property because there's the card of property above that. Did you relocate this year?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. It must have been quite something because you relocated through Stargate. So what was that? This is actually, let me tell you about this particular Stargate. There are 9 Stargates, and there's one of the 9 that is karmic. And even though they're karmic, they can still open north and bring you gifts from heaven. But sometimes they can open south, and depending on the planetary cycle, neutral Mercury and Uranus aren't necessarily favorable or unfavorable. They can be neutral. So this is a karmic Stargate. So I see an ace of spades above it. It's a little ominous. So I'm really curious. What happened?
No, I was looking for a place, and I found a place that I really, really liked, and I was told I wasn't getting it. That somebody else had already kind of had their bid in before me, and I was a little too late, and I was very upset about it. But I was actually going on a call with Jordan, so away I went, and I was distracted and doing other things, and I got a call that the person backed out, and would I like it? Would I like the place?
Wow,
and I was like, yeah. So I was out of town, but I did everything from out of town, and I got it.
Oh, congratulations. That's a great story. It totally aligns with what I'm seeing, because I'm like, ooh, this ace of spades would have caused her some grief. So, and this is a karmic Stargate too. So it was this kind of roller coaster way of receiving this gifted property.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And I would have probably said something like that in the reading too, because it's right there in front of me. So actually, this is not rocket science. This is, sometimes it is so simple and so clear. Yeah, and people don't need to buy the software. You can get an app for free called Sacred Symbols on your phone, and you can track your own cards daily, yearly, monthly.
Wow.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can really see how validating these
Yeah.
cards are in someone's life, and just the security that I can see that bringing someone who might be going through a tough time to be able to see here's an opportunity to maybe shift to that other timeline, which I love that you're talking about, because I find more and more people are talking about the shifting of timelines and realities and whatnot. So it's really cool that the system and you can track that.
Yes, yes. I'm always looking for a red 7 Stargate so I can go to my next timeline. I'm like, I'm ready. Woo! Give me a red 7. The red 7s take me up really high, and the red kings take me down. So I always kind of brace myself with the red kings and try to do everything I can to at least stay neutral. Yeah, so it's your turn. I can look at you if you want.
Sure.
Jordan? Yeah? Okay, let
I'm always
me
curious.
stop share. Okay, now I got to reshare.
I'm in the basement. I need to be pulled up.
All right, now I have Jordan. Okay, let me make the screen bigger. Okay, now this is, can you all see it?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, good. Oh, look at that. So you're in a Saturn cycle, and you got me in there, 4 hearts. Doesn't have to be me, but it represents family and marriage and so many other things. A home that you love, with the hearts on the walls. So where do you want me to begin? I could go anywhere. You want to optimize this and get a free reading, or do you want me to give you the basics of the 9 of spades, and what would you
Tell
like?
me a little bit about the 9 of spades. We got to see a little bit about like the reading style. I'm curious of,
What
what's
about the 9 of spades?
Yeah, what is that?
Okay. Well, this is a really intense card. It belongs to the Black 9 Stargate, and it is the most transformational Stargate in the entire deck. And in other words, you kind of overlook and oversee people's transformations. And you can also be half outside of time all the time. Like it's always 1 foot over here because, you just are plugged in to other densities by nature, because this 9 of spades belongs to what I call the black hole portal, which sounds kind of ominous, but it was just catchy. And I just circled it in a black marker 30 years ago. And I didn't know how else to refer to this portal. So black. And then I found another portal and I circled it in blue, and that nickname became Blue Hole Portal. And so that's just how I kept it. Anyways, you belong to this interesting transformational Stargate that when you meet your Stargate partner, things can be really like ignited intensely, gifts, or it can be unfavorable. Sometimes, it's not going to be neutral. So your Stargate partner is the 9 of clubs. Whenever you meet a 9 of clubs person, you form the Stargate, and you can do things that most people together, when you're together, that most people couldn't do. If you're like looking to do what you do, you work on helping rescue spirits to the other side. And if you teamed up with a 9 of clubs person, you could probably do it in the blink of an eye. But if you don't, that's fine. You have everything you need. What's your sister's birthday again? Do you remember her card? I know you had a sister.
I can't remember, but I do remember the first time, because I have gotten a reading from Karyn, and I remember the first time I had a reading from you. I remember you were looking at all my charts and you're like, you're spooky, you're spiritual, you're all these things. What are you doing? And I told you that, I work in the lower frequencies, and you're like, oh, that makes so much sense because you're from the black star and you're the black hole, and like your soul's from there, and you're like, you can handle all. And I remember you looking at my personality, or just in the deck and in the cards, and you're like, I can see why you're doing this work, and why you're kind of built for this work, because I can see it in the cards and in your chart. And I thought that was so incredible and so validating. And I remember you picking up on a lot of experiences that helped through my transformation. If it's a card of transformation, that makes so much sense. And I just remember at the time going through a really tough time, actually. And the reading that you gave me was so validating. And so
Good.
It was incredible, actually, the insights that you could have. And I remember you looking at like the future timelines of what could possibly happen. And I remember following the advice, and it worked out really well for me. in some of my healing. And then you suggested I work a little bit more with Amy, and then Amy did some healings on me, and it really transformed my life at that point. And I'm so grateful for both of you for that during that time period. But it was through you actually reading the chart that I knew, oh, this is something that I should do, and it worked. The energy is in alignment for me doing this. And so
Excellent.
just who might want to do something like this, it can be really transformative for folks, and just really, again, really validating and giving some stability and some security as well, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I remember that you were on the fence about doing this. You weren't sure what to do. And now it's all coming back to me. So anyways, you don't need your Stargate partner to do magic. You can do it without your Stargate partner, because when you meet your Stargate partner, it can be kind of hit or miss. It's like a crapshoot. Are you going to open north? Are you going to open south? I have my daughter as one of my Stargate partners, and during eclipses, we tend to open south. So I'm like, upcoming eclipses, I try to just kind of stay back and try to be with her as much as I can outside of the eclipses, because mother-daughter relationships are kind of tough. So yes, when you find your Stargate partner, it's pretty amazing, actually. So knowing that you're a partial Stargate is important, and your Four of Clubs internal card is one of the most stable cards. It's a 4, so 4 walls, 4 legs on a table, 4 legs on a chair. If the wind blows, it's still there. If you've got 3 legs, it's not so stable. It's an even number, and the clubs are cerebral, representing cerebral fire. So it gives you this incredible mental stability, which not everybody has. So you have this affinity for working outside of time, which can destabilize anybody, because you're not always on the earth anchored. But with that internal 4 of spades, you come right back. Like, you're unshakable. So this birthday is the perfect birthday for what you're doing. I hope that makes sense. Because yes, good. Because what you're doing can destabilize. I don't know that I'd want to do it, honestly. So
I'd be a bad tipping table for spooky things. That'd be a bad tipping table. I don't have the 3 legs, but yes. And you're correct. I do spend more time, I feel like, outside of my body than inside my body half the time. But when I come back in, I feel very anchored. So that actually makes a lot of sense. It was very validating.
Yeah, so it's an awesome birthday, because it's like you're built for this, so that you don't destabilize, because you can't do this work if you're destabilized. You'd have to spend hours, like just being a 9 of clubs or a double 9 of spades. You'd have to constantly do self-care and grounding to continue on what you're doing. But since you're wired inside for mental stability, and you can even give that to other people. I know a lot of 4 of clubs people who are my go-to people. They're quite like the 9 of hearts, where they're there for you. However, the 9 of hearts is there with a compassionate, loving ear. The 4 of clubs is that person that's like the idea person. Yeah, like my ex-husband, 4 of clubs, the idea man. I get into like a pickle. I can't figure out what I'm going to do. I'm stuck. Call Doug. Bam. Call him. And he gives me a whole nother angle I would never have thought of. So that you are the idea person. You come up with these amazing ideas that stabilize people. So it's a lot of sense. Yes.
I worked as a trauma counselor with domestic violence and human trafficking victims for many years. So there's a lot of destabilization and bringing them back to stability and people fleeing their homes. So that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Good. And I say just follow what you love. And this is what you love. And you are totally built for it. So looking at this cycle, do you want me to look into it, or do you want me to look into romance, or do you want to ask a question, or what would you like me to share with you?
Sure. Let's look at a little bit into the cycle.
Okay. This current cycle started August 1st. It ends on September 22nd, and it's Saturn. So Saturn is the planet that represents this finger, actually. So it's all about right and wrong. It's good and bad, black and white, and it's the police. So it polices you back onto your chart if you went off. It'll throw in opportunities for you to go, oh my gosh, I think I had been, off my chart, and I've been, not focused. Let me get back to where I should be. So that's the cycle now. I'm not always comfortable. It's one of the harder cycles of the entire year. But if you have good cards, it makes it a little easier. And you do have a 2 of diamonds, which is the card of 2 people sharing values or sharing money. Sometimes it's even a signature on a lease or a conveyance or a car or or just a joining of values with someone you care about. It's in Saturn, so that it would be around something that might take some work to actually materialize. And there is a Four of Hearts underneath it, which tells me that something around relationships,
Mm-hmm.
because Four of Hearts has been known as the marriage card, and it's a relationship card, really, because not always, we can't always see a signature and someone giving someone a ring, so it's more about how you feel about that person. So a significant other, we'll call it. And it could have been some sort of signature or meeting minds around values or money with someone you cared about, and it was sort of policed in a way where it brings things back into a more concise reality for you. And it could have also been a house, I don't know, 4 walls on the house with the hearts, and it could have involved that, but I can't 100% know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that for many reasons. There's a 5 and a 4 underneath it. You see these small little cards? These are the landlords. They own that spot, that piece of real estate on your chart. They dictate what that real estate's going to do. So it's just like astrology. You have landlords in every house, and then you have the planets inside houses, and the condition of the landlord will tell you how the planet will play out. So this is 5 and the 4. Whenever 5s and 4s come together, it brings change and movement and even a relocation. So I'm wondering if that was a home, or was it just a relationship that when you meet someone, you're like, oh God, I really like that person. I feel like I'm at home with that person.
Yeah.
So a person can make you feel at home, or is it really a house with the walls?
I could definitely see that, and I've been thinking a lot about real estate as well. And then I do have individuals in my life that do bring me that safety, and we do really connect on our values and that connection in that deeper sense. So I can definitely see that. And I've noticed, you mentioned this is a recent opening, and I've noticed a transition into that already. I'm curious of how long for this time that this, I guess these cards
That's
are.
a good question too. So this is a really important question, actually. It is a 52-day cycle, right, of Saturn, but it ends on, just after the solar eclipse, the day after the solar eclipse, in September 22nd. It's really fun to do eclipse readings, by the way. If you go to the day of the eclipse, your eclipse card is so revelational and revealing for what will unfold 45 weeks following. And it's mind-blowing, actually. And I'm going to be offering eclipse readings soon. I did my own, and I didn't really want to see what I saw. So I'm still recovering from it. But usually it's extremely insightful. So your real estate property card is sitting here right in Uranus, by the way. So there possibly property. This is the card of property in the planetary cycle that governs property. So it's a double property hitter. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be up on the table for you. It's also the card. So it's, in real estate, in Uranus, it's probably more about a property. If that Four of Spades was in Saturn, Saturn governs our physical body. I would ask you how your health was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, I'm going to go back to the Four of Hearts and Saturn. If you weren't feeling well, or if you were older, this is possibly a heart attack. When the Four of Hearts goes to Saturn, I'd have to see more confluence with that, but Saturn squeezes. So, a heart attack, the arteries get blocked. So Four of Hearts is representative of the heart chakra. So I've seen a lot of people have heart attacks with the Four of Hearts in Saturn, but not just that. It has to be other things. Their stress card has to be there. Their, black holes be, and a lot of other markers. But this doesn't look ominous at all. It doesn't look like a heart attack. But I'm just saying that's one way to read it. There's many ways to read it. So you're asking me this cycle. We go to the internal. We have the Two of Spades, which is card, like I told Cynthia, of friendship. And it is also a card of possible codependence, or even in some cases in Saturn, addiction or alcohol abuse, or because Saturn is the physiology, right? Mm-hmm. Or it could even represent the loss of a friend, because it goes to Saturn. Saturn becomes unfavorable sometimes, and this card will play out more on the dark side. And then the 9 of clubs is your Stargate partner. So it's a bit intense. It causes intensity for you. And it's also the mother wound card. So one of the greatest mother wound cards. So there could be issues there with the divine feminine or the goddess or the mother principle this particular cycle. Now this cycle, Saturn, it doesn't end exactly on the day after the eclipse and then Saturn's gone. No, it's a holistic system. These planets have to exist. If we are the cosmos, which we are, we embody every planet. It's a holistic thing. Like our head is the sun, and then in our cells we have the proton, neutron, electron. All those are embodied by a frequency of planet, even the mitochondria. So we are entire galaxies. So we have to understand that Saturn spills over into the whole year. So what does Saturn mean? We take the meaning of Saturn, we apply it. What we see, 2 of diamonds is the top card. That 2 of diamonds will spill over into all your cycles, telling me a little bit about what Saturn means. That means, keeping her on track, policing her, physiology, all the markers of Saturn will spill over into every cycle. But this particular time frame is when it will play out in the most intense way. I hope I answered your question.
No, that was great. Thank you.
Good.
I'm sure she'll be coming back for more information now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna be booking readings. I need more info.
Good. Well, I'm happy to do that. And maybe we do Amy's eclipse card for an example eclipse reading, or whatever you like. Or Amy, you're in charge. What would you like to do?
Well, let's just start with my card first of who I am, give people an idea, and then we'll see. We'll go from there. I love the eclipse idea because I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty powerful.
It really is. Okay, let me get out of here. Stop the share.
It always reminds me of that's a Mickey Mouse hand you got there.
What are you doing?
Your little mouse. It was like a little Mickey Mouse hand.
I was wondering why that looks so familiar. You're right.
I'm a big Disney fan. Like
I feel like such a failure of a Disney fan.
Where's the Mickey Mouse hand? Did I miss something?
Yeah, it was your cursor. It turned into a little hand that looked like Mickey Mouse.
I didn't notice that. Okay, let's find Amy Major. Okay.
We're all going to be hyper focusing on this cursor now, Amy.
Okay. All right, so now Amy's up, and Amy was born on the Ace of Clubs day. And interestingly enough, Amy's, since you're my good friend and we've traded so many readings, I know that you aren't necessarily operating at this level anymore because you evolved. So I would read you here because it's always going to play in, but you went to the 5 of spades. It's always an octave higher. And that's through adversities. We never get to our evolved card just by sitting back and eating ice cream. I wish, but we have to walk through the fire to get to our next card. So the 5 of spades is where she's at most of the time. And so we kind of go up and down and play, 5 of, I'll check all of them, but I know you've been there. And I can tell you why another time that I'm 100% sure that you never look in her chart for it. You look in other people's charts to see how they perceive you, and then you know. So the Ace of Clubs is the card of the pioneer, and they are thirsty for knowledge. And as a matter of fact, they spend so much time reading and researching and gathering knowledge and just wanting to know everything. They have the most curious minds, and they are the inventors of things. They start things. They're beginners of things. And the clubs represents her cerebral fire and her third eye and all this area. So she can even invent things like spirit rescue that would be new to the world, maybe not new to some people like you guys that probably known about spirit rescue. Some shamans know, a small demographic knows about it, but Amy might be the one that makes it wider, brings it out to the public, and teaches people that there is such a thing. And this is not just like a hooga booga Harry Potter thing. It's a niche that needs to be expanded. And a pioneer like Amy would be the one to bring it out. And she's got the twin card, soulmate card, 2 of hearts. So Amy, you might like partnerships more than most people, and then you might vacillate because the ace is very much about independence. It vibrates to 1, and then you've got the 2. The 2 of hearts is that other twin where you really enjoy another person with you, and it doesn't have to always be business either. It could be a romantic partner or just somebody. So know that about yourself. It's okay to have times where you're just like, I just want to do me, and then you change your mind. You're like, wait a minute, I really like having a partner, and maybe a business partner, or maybe a partner to go blueberry picking or something like that. Whereas if you were just an ace of, say, diamonds or an ace of spades, they're loners. They kind of just, do their own thing and don't always think about, well, maybe I should get married, or maybe I should open a business and find a partner. There's no dialogue with them for that. Okay, so what else can I share with you?
What's the queen?
Yeah, you want to know about that? That is your internal self, the hidden side of you that is extraordinarily psychic. Why? Because that queen of clubs and the king of clubs together are the most psychic cards in the deck. And we know women are more intuitive than men. I can't 100% say that across the board because I've met some very intuitive men. But in general, women just tend to be that way because of the estrogen, and because we feel more and we have more water, and water is what brings in heightened emotions, and that's how we actually become psychic, is through the element of water in some ways. So Amy has a lot of water and a lot of ability to tune in, and she is the divine mother, whereas the Queen of Hearts is the earth mother. So she's the embodiment of mother love, of mother providing and guidance, and whatever you associate the divine mother to be, she is that. So when we combine that, it's no doubt that she has written books, and she's all, brainiac with the Ace of Clubs around psychic abilities, which, this is the psychic. And the reason this particular card is so psychic is because it has the 6 of Clubs as in its life path, because every card gets a life path. And that's like your chart. If you go to an astrologer, you give your birthday, your location, the time, and they develop a life chart for you in that moment, a snapshot of where the planets were at that moment, and that's your life path. And the life path here, you can also get, I'll actually show it to you. Click on life and click back. This is Amy's, I didn't do that. Oh, see, I can't click in here. I have to go out of the screen and find the actual software. But anyways, so just know that in your life path, the 6 of Clubs is your Uranus card. And Uranus governs psychic and occult and mystical and magical. So the 6 of Clubs is another one of the most extraordinary psychic cards. So there's 3 really, but the reason that the King and the Queen are psychic is because of the 6 in their life path. The 6 is the messenger, the bringer of light, and is part of the Black 6 Stargate, where it interfaces with the Black 9 Stargate in almost like a Ferris wheel situation inside the Earth template, which I might be losing you now, but the Earth template is where all of this is based out of. And the Earth template, you just got to memorize it and understand it, because it's a static template of how the cards all fall in this beautiful order. And it doesn't seem to be coherent at all. It seems chaotic, but there is another template called the Spirit template that is coherent. It's easy peasy, Ace of Hearts, 2 of Hearts, 3 of Hearts, 4, goes in order. But the Earth template appears chaotic. I found some order in it with Stargates, and I found some patterns and some hidden things in there just when I gaze at it. But in that Earth template, which is static for everybody, same template for everybody, find your card in the template, then you count 7 left, and that is your life path for the card that you were born on, that natal card. So Amy's card, the Queen of Clubs, has a 6 of Clubs in her life path, which gives her the ability to be the messenger of light, which is no doubt why she writes, light the way, right? So your book. So what else, Amy? Do you want to ask
So what am I
questions
going
about?
through, right? You said something about an eclipse.
Oh yeah, I was going to do an eclipse reading. So let me pull out of here. Yeah, I'm stopping the share. I'm taking you to the layer of the week of the lunar eclipse now.
Okay. And that's September 21st, you said?
There's a lunar. They always come in twos or sometimes threes, but mostly twos. It's a 2-week window between the solar and the lunar, so that the lunar this time is a full lunar, a red blood moon, and then 2 weeks after that will be the solar eclipse. Okay, so the lunar eclipse is the more emotional eclipse because the moon governs emotions. And let me, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so here it is. So the solar eclipse falls in Neptune in your chart, and it actually has your birth card and the King of Spades, which is the last card in the deck, number 52. Its star code is 52. So when I see that come together, that's the God card. And when you spell out God, G-O-D, each letter has a numerical value. And that's another big part of the system. And I'm developing a program right now with ChatGPT. I didn't know that they could do code, but it's a program where you can enter a name or any word and find the card to it, because you can track the actual numbers of what does that name mean. And that's how I find, is a street address good for you or not. So when you put G-O-D into this calculator that I'm developing, there's already one out there, but I want my own, so I'm making my own. And God is the King of Spades. So a lot of godlike liberation, enlightenment activities will come on this lunar eclipse and 45 weeks following. So this is I'm going to just say favorable, giving you more psychic ability, more messages, more downloads. Not that you even need any more, but yeah, and it's going to be there for you. And this 7 of diamonds, I'm wondering, how close are you to Cynthia? Because that's her twin card. Are you just having this podcast, and are you already working together? What's the relationship?
I love her dearly. She's wonderful.
I don't even know what you just said, but I'll just go with it.
She asked how close we are.
Oh,
should we go about this life or past life? Because that will determine. It depends.
I'm trying to identify.
This life is
the 7 of diamonds is the millionaire card, remember? And it's her twin. So I mean, it doesn't have to be a person. It could just be the experience of the 7 of diamonds. So I was trying to ask you about your relationship to wonder if there's something that you two have a project, or are you going to work closer together, or is this not her? I'm just trying to identify.
Nothing's planned
if I want to embody this card. Okay, well, I don't know. So I'm just going to do a global, generalized reading. Is 7 of diamonds is the millionaire card in Neptune, and the best way to make money in that
bring it on.
Bring on the millions.
I just
and you can see the 9 of hearts is right.
I just win.
This would be the time to buy.
You do have the King of Diamonds. I mean, it does look like a lucrative. Sorry?
I said maybe this is the time to buy a lottery ticket, and this is your card coming in.
Yeah, I have to look up your wealth card. I forget what your wealth card is, Amy. I mean, I can look it up quickly, but I'd have to change the screen and all. But first, I can do that in a minute. But I just want to point out this is a lot of money. This week has a lot of well-placed cards. So Jupiter is the bank, right? So if we look for money, if somebody asks me about money, we have the King of Diamonds. We go to Jupiter. King of Diamonds is the wealthiest card in the deck. And it's wealthy at anyone's expense, though. It's not like the millionaire card where it's contingent upon being a good doobie and following your dharma and walking your talk. The King of Diamonds is the one-eyed card. You can see he's sideways, so he looks at you like he can be a little nefarious, and he'll get his money however the hell he wants to, right? But that money will come. The King of Diamonds will have money if he applies himself. If he doesn't and he's a slacker, hey, he had the ability to do it, but not all people know their cards. Be good to know if you're a King of Diamonds and you don't have any money. If I read for you, I would say to you, you're not applying yourself. What do you love to do? Do it. Because they should just have money. And these are the card, this card is entrepreneurial. This is the card of I run the ship and I make the money. I'm in charge. So this is in Jupiter, well placed with the 6 of diamonds underneath it. This is the eclipse week. And that 6 of diamonds is money that is owed to you coming in. So it's backwards money and it's diamonds. So if somebody owes you, you'll be getting it. And in the worst case, if nobody owes you, 6 is like steady stick in the mud in the way. All 6 are, they either go backwards or they just stay the same. So hopefully people owe you money and you're getting it. And then there's the 4 of hearts here, which is, I know you're composite with Chris, right? You make the 4 of hearts with him, I'm pretty sure.
I think
or is
so.
it? I think so. Yes. And then that being in the bank, which is Jupiter, is with the 10 of diamonds, which is 10 is as high as you go, besides before you get to the face cards. So we're saying this is the most blessed card globally. It's not personally your most blessed card, but in general, in a general sense, it's an extremely blessed card. And what I would say is your husband, the composite between you, when you add your star code and his star code, subtract 52. If it goes over that amount, you make the 4 of hearts together. That's like its own entity, its own portal. So that tells me that through your husband and your relationship, money is coming in a big way. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yes, yes. And then we go a little closer to the Venus card. There's Jordan, or not Jordan. Wait a minute. That's Cynthia again. So Cynthia, I'm guessing this is you because Venus and Neptune are higher octaves of each other. And according to the law of 5, we'd always count 5 a way to get more information about the other row. So 7 of diamonds, millionaire card, twin to the 9 of hearts. And in Venus is quite favorable. So I would suggest if you guys aren't doing anything business-wise, you should. Maybe.
Wow, Amy.
Maybe, I don't know.
Right, here I am.
Maybe even just as simple as a little podcast like this, or maybe a whole class together. I don't know. Something to consider. Anything else here I need to talk about? Well, there might be a lawyer involved somehow in your life, Amy. And that lawyer, see the card of the wind is coming in big. Oh my God, your spirit. I mean, my sticky notes are flying off my desk. And I've never, I know when the wind happens like that, it's not a coincidence that they come in through the wind. Okay, they're all coming in. Oh, it's insane, actually. I feel like I should close the window. Okay, so hold on, I'm overwhelmed.
Take
My
your
energy
time,
goes
Karyn.
back, so
You've
I
been
like
sharing a lot of information. It's
Yeah.
been lovely to hear about, obviously, my co-hosts and how this all works and understanding the history of the cards. And I'm interested to know about this book that you're writing. What's this
Okay.
about? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, thank you for coming in and rescuing me because the wind stopped as soon as you did that. I think Amy has more messages that I need to talk about later because as soon as I go on to Amy, the shades start rattling and all my sticky notes are flying off the table. So we'll just table that for now because I felt a little overwhelmed and I'm very grateful that they came in. But we'll come back to Cynthia's question. My book is actually 5 books. Excuse me, and it's on Amazon right now. And in the name of the 5-book series is the 52 secret star codes of creation. And I'm going to change the title of that actually, so that it actually becomes an ace of clubs. The titles of books and titles of things, places you work, or any words have power. So the title is now going to be 52 Star Codes of Consciousness instead of that one I just gave you. It's already published on Amazon, but I'm going to take it down. I'm in the middle of a rewrite. I'm going to make it one big fat book. And I've had so many people, and the reason I'm doing that for many reasons is because people are so confused. They email me and text me, which one should I buy? And it just shouldn't be that hard. So I tried to explain it on Amazon on the blurbs, and it's still people are overwhelmed and don't get it. So then you can't get bestseller ever because you have to get X amount of reviews on one book. And they're all peppered into 5 books, and then some people don't even know which book to leave a review on. They leave. So I'm making this one big book. I think by the end of the year I should be complete. I'm really close to being done, and that is a book for I'm making it for the average Joe, so that you don't have to be an astrologer to read it. I think my other books, my 5 books, were a little more complicated. So I've got a great editor I'm working with who is also astrologer, and she's got a Venus King of Clubs, so she's brilliant. So she's telling me, oh no, that's too hard. Simplify, make it just, 5 sentences per paragraph, concise, less is more, just helping me deliver it because I live this system. This is like my second language, and it's hard I forget that people don't have a clue about this. So sometimes I write from the place that I'm at, and I have to remember, I have to write from the place that I was when I first started learning this.
And it's hard to do that. It is. I totally understand.
Yeah, you get it. She is helping me rein it in to just, no, not everybody knows that. Don't assume that, right? Give us the basics here. So that's what this book will be. And it's hard to do that and still keep it concise, because that means I have to talk a little bit more, teach a little bit more in it, but it's all going to work out, and I'm really excited about it. And there's so many more books that I have to write. I have a great relationship book that I wrote 65 pages on. Actually, as part of my 5-book series, I started incorporating the relationship pieces into that book, and it was going to be a 6-book series, and I just cut that out. But that should be a book on its own, because so many people have trouble in relationships and need to know, should I stay, should I go, and who's my best partner. And in this book, I have outlined some of the best partners for people moving to their birthday. Yeah, really exciting. And to identify, this type of relationship is toxic and it's short-lived. Try to, without saying, put your sneakers on and run, try to gracefully leave, make your exit plan. Or I say, oh, this is like, this, and most people, when I say that, they're not shocked. And then I'll say, oh my gosh, the Jack of Hearts composite is the most blessed composite to make and the most enduring, and it will bring a lifelong loving relationship where you're more likely to stay together. If 1 in every 2 marriages ends in divorce, I understand why. By looking at this system, it's clear. So I
talk to you before they get married then, right?
Oh, absolutely. And even finding a day to get married is really important, because the day you choose, imagine if you get married in a black hole, on a black hole day. That's not going to last.
My day. That's my day. Be nice.
well, you're just part of the black hole. You're not a full-blown walking black hole. There's only a couple birthdays that are full-blown black hole. And sometimes your 9 of Spades card is someone's blessed card. So then I have to apply that too. But there are days like getting married on an eclipse. No. Or getting married on New Year's Eve. No. Because that's in between. That's the King of Spades, January 1st, and then the Ace of Hearts, which in some cases people call it the Joker card, but half that day is designated to the Ace of Hearts. This is the beginning and the end. So that's a cusp. You don't ever want to get married on a cusp, because there's no legs. It just floats. There's nothing that's solid. It's just outside of time and until we start. It's a transitional. I know a lot of people get married on New Year's Eve, but that's very unlikely to last. So a muhurta is what this is called. And why did that just show up? That's weird.
I think a lot of people have been given a lot of information. Just this, it's mind-blowing how much information are in these charts. So if people have been watching this and like, I really want to know more about myself, my partnerships, my relationships, my job, where I'm living, pretty much every aspect of everyone's life can
Everything,
see
even your health. I can, yeah.
and the health. So how can people find you if they want to book a reading with you?
You can go to 52starcodes.com and go to the schedule link, and there'll be a drop down, and you can choose which type of reading you want. Or you can study with me. I want more students because I'm going to be opening a school.
Yes.
I don't know exactly when. I was hoping to do it in September, but not during the eclipse season. You should never begin anything in the eclipse season in September is full blown. You know, those 2 weeks between the solar and the lunar, just lay low. Don't start anything new. It's not a good time to. It's not usually auspicious. It's time for people to get more rest and sleep and be inward. So not a time for me to launch my school, but maybe in October. And I would love to get students that want to learn how to do this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us and showing us all this stuff. I
You're
know
welcome.
we love what you do.
Oh,
You know, I've been promoting you for
Thank
years. I'm like, this is good stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. That just means so much to me. Thank you. Really. And it's such an opportunity to be on this podcast with you ladies too. So thank you.
And if you have any questions for us here at Spirit Rescue Talk, you can go to our email address, which is Cynthia.
spiritrescuetalk@gmail.com. We read every single one. We'd like to bring your thoughts forward. So let us know what's on your mind. What do you want to hear about? What do you want us to cover? We're interested. We want to connect.
And also, if you're interested in being a guest as well, you know, we love new faces. We love new connections. You know, if you have a new book you want to promote, if there's something that you really want to discuss, we love having our open discussions and the topics to go all over the place. We like to keep them Spirit Rescue Talk or Spirit Rescue, you know, devoted. But again, with 52 Star Codes, getting into our cycles, getting into our lives, as you saw, especially with Jordan, Spirit Rescue came up. It's like it's in her chart. It's like it's, you know, without a doubt, you're on the right track and you're on the right path. That's a wonderful thing to do. So we love to chat with all of you and send us your questions. If you want to be a guest, we'd love to have you. So happy to see you next time.